Hi engineers, welcome to today's lecture presentation of the graphs and their role in experiments as well as the theory. Graph piece is simply a pictorial way to show relation between two physical quantities. This is a x-axis, this is a y. Whenever we are drawing velocity time graph, time we will take on x-axis and velocity we will take on y-axis. Here the graph may be of different nature. Right, this is a linear curve. It is simply as the time increases, velocity is increase linear, means it's a straight line. The nature of the graph is y is equal to mx plus c. M is the slope, c is the y-intercept. But in the present scenario, the y-intercept is 0. So the graph is simply y is equal to mx. And if we want to calculate the slope of the graph, we will select a point on x-axis and we will draw this is x1. Then we will draw this is x2 and another line we will draw x1 and another line we will draw x2. If we want to calculate slope, simply x1 x2, this is y1 y2. So slope can be calculated two ways. One is simply we can write y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, that is equal to m. Otherwise m equal to tan theta. The theta is always we will measure with respect to x-axis and this is the theta. These two ways we can use anyway. In experiment we have mainly independent variables, dependent variables, control variables. Control variables means we can control or make it constant. What are basically these independent and dependent variables? As time changes, velocity changes. So whatever we take on x-axis, that will be the independent variable, and whatever we will measure on y-axis, that's a dependent variable. Independent variable is a time, dependent variable is a velocity. In other words, independent variable is a parameter we change. So whenever we are doing experiment, we can change the parameter. That will be the independent variable. Measured parameter is known as dependent variable. Basically, the graphs may be two types: linear curve, non-linear curve. So this will be linear and non-linear. So if we are using velocity time graph as our reference, time on x-axis and velocity on y-axis. Next, how to plot a graph. First step, examine. We have to examine the experimental data. On x-axis, what is minimum, on what is maximum. Then on y-axis, what is minimum, what is maximum. We have to note range of variables. So we have by seeing it, what is a minimum value and a maximum value of the data, we have to note, and what is a interval for them, whether they are evenly distributed or they have different values. So range of the variations of the two variables to be plotted. Next one is third one. Check the graph sheet. Number of available divisions on the two axes down on the graph paper. Then we have to make a choice of scale for two axes. So we have to take care what is the scales, then cover. So whenever we are drawing the graph, make sure the final graph should cover entire graph sheet. Final graph. So always try to draw the graph, at least it's covers more than half region. Readjust the scale, the graph will come. Then next one is we have to write the scales on the top right corner. What is x-axis, how much, y-axis, how much we are taking. It's a 1 centimeter is equal to how many units, y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to how many units we are taking. That's we have to take. Then draw. It means whenever you are drawing, draw the arrowheads along each axis. This is along x-axis and y-axis. And the scale should be here. That is the draw. Then write. What we are supposed to write? We have to write the symbols used for the corresponding variables. It means that whatever we are taking on x-axis, say for example, time we are taking, we have to keep time, as well as write the values with the units. It's a seconds. And on y-axis we are taking velocity. It's a meter per second. Like that, write the values of the respective variables on the divisions marked by dark lines along the axis. So in this graph sheets, show the lines. It means on axis, whenever we are drawing the graph, first thing is we have to write the scales on the top corner, then draw the arrowheads along each axis. Whenever we are drawing on the graph sheets, x-axis, y-axis, we have to draw, then write the symbols used for corresponding variables. If it is a time, use t. If it is velocity, v. If it is current, write I. If it is a voltage, write v, and along with units. Next point is draw the points n encircle them. So if we have the graph and the point, we have keeping. So don't leave that one. Encircle them so that they will be clearly visible. Next one is drawing. So for example, if our graph is a straight line, then always use a ruler and a pencil to draw. So whenever we have to draw the straight lines, always use the ruler. Next one is make. So whenever you are drawing, use pencil and scale. Whenever you are making, care should be taken to ensure that straight line passes through maximum point. Then if they are not passing through it, then what we are supposed to look is the remaining points should evenly distributed with that line evenly. So so the remaining point, if they are not coming on the line, they should be evenly distributed on both sides of the line. So according to that, we have to draw the graph. If the points do not lie on a straight line, means its curve is not a linear curve, then what we are supposed to do is we have to draw the freehand curve. We have to draw freehand smooth curve. So the curve should be smooth, not like a zigzag. Smooth curve passing through maximum points. Here also same principle is applied. So it has to pass through the maximum point. Then final and fifth one is, once a graph is over, a proper title should be given to the graph. Proper title should be given to the graph, whatever we plotted. So these are the parameters we have to take care, starting with selection of the axis, variables, writing the scale, then choice of the scales, right, and drawing the graph and plotting for straight lines and plotting for non-straight lines. For all those things we have to take care. So this is for today's session. In the next session, we will go little beyond the theory and we will select the different experiments and we will draw the different types of the graphs and we will apply this principle whatever we learned here. Until then, take care. See you. Have a great day. Bye.
మా వీడియో మీకు గనుక నచ్చినట్టయితే షేర్, కామెంట్ అండ్ సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. ఈ వీడియోపై మీ అభిప్రాయాల్ని కామెంట్ రూపంలో తెలియజేయండి.